as can be. We can get our acceleration pretty much right away. Woo! Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's going to be reviewing the all-new Ford Expedition Timberline. Before we get in this video though, a huge shout out and thank you to the Larch Miller Ford Lincoln here in Provo, Utah for giving me some time with this Expedition. I'm going to include a link to their inventory in the description down below so you can check out what they have currently. If you have any questions or need any help, just ask for John Jenks. And then on a side note, if you want to save time and money the next time you purchase a car, link to my car buying guide in the description down below as well. Let's get into it. So under the hood, we have a twin-turbo 3.5-liter V6 that goes through a 10-speed automatic transmission. Fuel economy is 15 around town and then 19 on the highway, with power outputs being 440 horsepower and then 510 pound-feet of torque. Now, before we go over the front end, I do want to mention, if you want to see more videos just like this, then I recommend you subscribe because I post content every single day. So taking a look at the hood, you guys can see it's raised there on either side. We've got these cool LED daytime running lights with the LED headlamps, and then notice with the grille how that is gray. You've got the darker Ford logo with the camera at the bottom of the logo, and then we've got our kind of like orange copper accenting that's part of the Timberline package. We do have some fog light action there off to the side, and then this has skid plates underneath, and it's kind of in that like Raptor style in terms of the appearance. And putting it all together, the Timberline looks really cool, and if you're wondering, it's got 10.6 inches of ground clearance. Come around the side here, our tire and wheel setup is 265/70/18 in the front and over in the rear as well. And then you guys can see with the wheel design, the wheels are all blacked out, and it's quite a bit of sidewall there on those tires. Yeah, look how just aggressive these tires are. And then we do have off-road shocks as part of the Timberline package as well. I think the fender's pretty cool with how that's cut, and then you guys can see blacked out mirror cap. We've got some chrome trim there at the bottom with the window segment, I guess is what we'll call it. And then you can see the Timberline badge there on the side, and then notice with the fixed side steps. And putting it all together, here is your full side view on the Timberline. So here's a key fob for the Expedition. You guys can see we've got the unlock function, the lock function, remote start, and then the opening for the hatch, as well as the Ford logo there on the back end. We'll press that a couple times, and the hatch will pop right open. Now, popping into the rear, first off, you guys will notice that this is built off of the shorter version of the Expedition, and so you have an okay amount of storage space behind the third row. It's not crazy though, but notice we've got all of these controls here on the side. So with the second row, you can just throw them down. With the third row, you can throw them down and raise them up automatically, which is pretty cool. And when you're all done, just press that button right there, and that will lower the hatch right back down. Now here are the taillights on the Timberline, and then you guys can see the Expedition logo. Notice how it has orange accenting, again that like copper orange to match with the rest of the Timberline theme. And then we've got parking sensors here at the bottom and a bezel that covers the receiver hitch. And then putting it all together, I think the Timberline looks pretty sweet. And look at that, we also have a roof rail system there at the top too. Now taking a look at the door panel in the rear, you guys can see with the copper stitching, and yes, black interior, no longer green, so you have some interior color options with the Timberline now. But really nice padding down below, and there's the door panel. And again, that contrasted stitching continues onto the seats. Notice they're perforated down the center portion, then you have your manual adjustments on the side as well. Legroom here in the back is solid. You guys can see we've got a little storage pocket. We've got some cup holders here, and then we have our own climate zone here for the rear heated seats and some outlets. And then headroom back here is also solid. Legroom here in the third row is solid, like you can comfortably fit adults back here. I've got this to recline my seat, got a little USB here, and then some storage. And then headroom back here is also good. Now taking a look at the front door panel, you guys can see again with that, I guess we'll just call it copper colored stitching at this point. And then look at the padding down below. All of our window controls here with our mirror adjustments. The mirrors do power fold in. You also have your memory seat functionality, and then blind spot monitoring with the mirror. And then here with the front seat, again, look at that stitching, and then you guys can see perforated all down the center portion. And then we do have our power adjustments on the side. We've got our adjustments here for the pedals, parking brake right here with the light control. That's to throw down the seats. And then you guys can see to open up the hatch, and then more of that stitching, and then you can see the coloration there. They're going hard on that. Steering wheel, by the way, power adjustable. Now taking a look at the steering wheel, you guys can see really nice padding all around. We've got that like copper stitching in the center portion. We've got some controls for the center stack with our adaptive cruise control, volume controls as well, and then turn signal windshield wiper stalk. Full digital gauge cluster here in the center, as you guys can see, and you can scroll through to see different bits of info on the vehicle. Pretty standard stuff with most modern Fords, but the fun thing is with the drive modes, notice it shows the Expedition change color depending on the mode, which is pretty awesome. But you've got a bunch of on-road modes, and then these are like your off-road modes as well. And notice that there's not a rock crawl mode with this. Even though this has enough ground clearance to do some rock crawling, Ford kind of sees this as more of like a trail runner. Now with the backup camera, we do have trajectory lines that turn with the steering wheel, and then you guys can see the bird's eye view as well. So this does have a full 360 camera system. And then as for the infotainment system, first off, we got a shortcut bar here at the bottom for like the heated and cooled seats and the climate system, and then we actually have a physical volume control, which is great. So like the seats, for example, you got this little like slider, you can go one way or the other, which is pretty cool. And then you guys can see this little kind of like shortcut bar right here for like the media, phone, all that, and then radio up above that. And then we have this pull down tab here at the top, which has stuff like your Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. And then if you press the Expedition, I know this is getting pretty deep into it, and then we have stuff with the Expedition. This does have the trail turn assist, which Ford's pretty much adding to all their off-roaders. And then you can also access the camera system from this, so you can like pull down the different menus to see different viewpoints with it. So I think it's pretty cool. And of course we got more of that orange stitching throughout. Pro Trailer Assist on this. Trailer brake controls integrated from the factory, and then down below the infotainment system you guys can see for the stability control, and then for the defroster. And look at that, we got a wireless phone charging pad with some USBs, and this slides forwards if you want to cover that. Shifter for that 10-speed automatic transmission. It does have a manual shift function. We have a rear locking differential, plus and minus for the transmission, and then notice we've got the cup holders right here with little cover over it. Drive mode select with our drive line select. This does have 4-wheel high as well as 4-wheel auto, 4-wheel low, and 2-wheel high. That's like your trail control, so it's like your off-road cruise control. And then your parking sensors and big center console, just like an F-150. Look at like the, again, stitching on the top. And this has the cool double glove box, just like the F-150 as well, which I'm a big fan of. And then you guys can see outlet right next to it. And then up top here, you guys can see with the sunglass holder, and then we do have a full panoramic sunroof. So here's a window sticker for this 2023 Expedition Timberline. You guys can see this one is a 501A equipment group, and wow, $9,200 for that package. Base MSRP starting at $71,000, but after all options on this one, it stickers for $84,440. And let's see how it drives. Well, let's talk about visibility before we set off. Here's your visibility of the hood, both the mirrors, which do have blind spot monitoring, and then throughout the rest of the rear. And, well, let us set right off. Let's go on an expedition in the Expedition. It's so funny, some of the names that car companies give. And I guess that this is like the most expedition-y expedition, because you could actually get some places with the Timberline, that is for sure. But first off, seat comfort's really good in the Timberline. That's something that I love about this. And then another big benefit with this is actually the ride quality so far. In the parking lot, it's actually pretty dang comfortable. And something that a lot of automakers do is they'll basically take their, big pickup truck, which is what Ford did with the F-150, and then they give it independent suspension, and then, turn it into an SUV, and that's what the Expedition is, which is quite interesting. Yeah, good power, that is for sure. Good power. Yeah, ride quality is really good with this. The shocks do a good job at damping, and then it's smooth. Bigger tires always help out with ride quality, because obviously more sidewall, slightly smaller wheel typically, because this one has an 18-inch wheel. It means that you just have a little bit more cushion. It's kind of like a secondary shock absorber in a way. Ooh, we got lucky as can be. We can get our acceleration pretty much right away. Woo! Man, eco beast, am I right? This thing hauls. This thing hauls. Yeah, it's just that's quick. That is solid. So yeah, I don't think I need to say any more on that. Now with the handling, it's really good with that independent suspension. That helps out quite a bit, making it feel a little bit more planted. And we're just gonna go through here because I feel like the shocks are the most important thing for me to feel with this more than anything else. So like there's some bumps in this parking lot. That's why I'm kind of going over them, just to feel. Yeah, damping seems like it's pretty dang solid with this, actually. So to sum things up with the Timberline, goodbye tripod. I think this thing looks really cool. I think it drives really well. It's got super solid off-road numbers, right? With the ground clearance and everything, it's got big tires. And so, yeah, I think if you're looking for like, again, Ford doesn't see this as like a Moab rock crawler, but ultimately more of like a, you know, 3-row family SUV that you might go on camping adventures with. This thing's, it's rock solid. This can actually get you to a bunch of places. So let me know what you guys think about the new Timberline, but I think they did a really good job.